wondering how I got into this mix.
Hey everyone, this is Derrick Broze with the Conscious Resistance Network. Thank you guys for supporting and following us at theconsciousresistance.com to get all of our latest content. Today we're going to talk about political parties and two different stories that I think illustrate why we need to abolish political parties. Now, as far as voting goes, if you come to our website and you search voting, you will see some past work that I've done and maybe some of our other contributors have done. Particularly, voting is a ritual meant to divide, non-voting a strategy, not apathy. Is voting an act of violence? Non-voters are not to blame for President Trump. And there's another one I did called Here's Why I Don't Vote. And you can obviously see that we're non-voters here at the Conscious Resistance. And some people will say, they'll agree with me that the political system is broken when we talk about this, and that they agree with me that the two parties are corrupt. And so I have friends who, of course, they spend their time fighting for third parties, right, and trying to push for maybe the Green Party or the Libertarian Party, and they're looking to get that 5% of the federal vote so that they can get federal funding and then maybe get into political debates, and then maybe in a few years or decades, get some influence. And it's this long-term strategy, which I absolutely believe real change is long-term, is generational, is going to take quite a while. But I don't think that it really comes best through the political system like that. Or at least I'll say that's not how I want to spend my time. But whenever we have this discussion, sometimes people will suggest that the answer is to add more political parties, right? Some countries have like 20, 30 political parties, 13, I've seen different comments from people saying, oh, in this country we have this, in this country we have this. And that's seen as the solution to some people. Obviously, the idea of having more choices in the marketplace, even if that marketplace is the statist government voting booth, it seems like a good idea. But I would say philosophically it reinforces the whole idea and the supposed need for a state itself, and you're still condoning and supporting that system by participating in it. That's my belief, right? I know some have made an argument against that. But what I really want to focus on today is that perhaps the solution is not in the extreme of adding as many, hundreds of political parties, but maybe the opposite direction and abolishing political parties. So we're going to talk about this right here. No party is welcome. Town bans all politicians after being lied to repeatedly. And this is coming to you via activist post, via the Free Thought Project, as reported by AFP. So it says that Bosnian politicians are wrapping up their final days of campaigning this week as elections are scheduled for Sunday, but there is at least one town that won't allow them to pass. Podgora is that place, and it's full of people who become tired of being lied to over and over again. You've been lying to us for years. No party is welcome in Podgora, reads a white banner strung across the main square of the 700-person village, which lies about 18 miles from the capital Sarajevo. I can't even say that. I'm sorry. As the AFP reports, Sunday's general elections will fill Bosnia's highest political offices from a 3-person presidency down to district assemblies. But few are expecting significant change in a nation that has been paralyzed for decades, in part because of unresolved conflicts. The war has killed 100,000 people and split the country into two largely autonomous regions linked by a weak central government. Huge swaths of the population are disillusioned by a political class known chiefly for corruption and dysfunction. Wow, this sounds crazy, like this could potentially happen in America. Two largely autonomous regions linked by a weak central government. One man tells AFP enough lies when they ask him why he supports the ban on politicians. We're fed up with every time they come to tell us stories and make promises to ensure votes. And basically, the poor and the jobless people are sick of the politicians. And they say every time on the day after the elections, it's as if nothing has happened, and it's as if they did not ever come to see us. So apparently politicians actually tried to come through the town, and their signs were torn down, they were driven out. And this person explains that the ones who keep the town running are the people, not the government. And when something is broken, the people pool their own resources and fix it. We are the ones who replace bulbs for the streetlights. We do not have a single garbage container. There's no bus, and drinking water supply system was constructed before the war with asbestos cement pipes that were not replaced. So, of course, they come through like politicians saying they're going to take care of things, and they say they've promised so many times to pave the streets and the cement should be at least 1 meter thick by now. And now they're just sick of it, and they basically said that one of the men tells them, we changed, we voted for one party, then for others, but it's still the same. They are all the same. They fight for the armchair, and once in it, they do not think about people anymore. So then this goes on to talk about another story that I wrote about a couple of weeks ago. It says, talking about the town Cherán in Michoacán, Mexico, where this community kicked out their cops and politicians 7 years ago, and in April they were celebrated their 7-year anniversary, and they now have a reported lowest crime rate in Mexico in one of the areas that is supposed to be one of the most notorious and dangerous, the state of Michoacán itself. So in 2011, the residents of Cherán created armed militias to fight off illegal logging and drug cartels in their community. They kicked out politicians and police accused of ties to drug cartels, and went back to a system of governance based on their indigenous traditions. And in April 15th of this year, they celebrated seven years since that revolt against what they call the narco government. And this article goes into depth to describe how they have these committees that will meet. They had these different ronda comunitarias, or community guards, that meet at the barricades. These barricades that they set up to kind of guard the whole area ended up becoming meeting places for people to discuss things and how they're going to do certain things in the communities. And they have neighborhood assemblies and general assemblies. So they have a form of governance, but it's a local, decentralized form of governance. Decentralized in the sense that it's not connected to the federal government or the state government. It's their own community's government that people can come participate in it. Some would say direct democracy. I'd say it's a state of anarchism in the sense that there are people living there voluntarily. They're not being forced or coerced to be there, and they have localized their governance down to the individual, almost to the community, almost to the individual level. There may be some details that we could disagree with, but ultimately this is a positive thing. And of course, Luke Rakowski and Jeff Berwick were recently there, and I think they've put out 2 or 3 videos now talking to the community members. And you can see this documentary here, which is actually in Spanish with English subtitles from Cherán TV themselves there in the community. So 2 examples of communities who are kicking out politicians and political parties. And you could say, well, look, these are small communities. We're not talking about the entire United States, right? This is a town of 700 people, and Cherán is, I can't remember the numbers, but there's thousands of people there, but definitely smaller than the population of the United States, right? Or even a major city. But I don't think that idea, that the size should limit us from being able to consider these possibilities. Because again, the politicians are corrupt, and I would say even deeper than that, outside of just general corruption, it's this whole idea of authority itself. Putting your faith in politicians or priests or pastors or principals or teachers or parents or anybody blindly. There's reasons to look at people's ideas and listen to them if they have some skills and knowledge in a certain area, but that doesn't mean we should blindly trust people and stop critically thinking for ourselves, which is what many people have done when it comes to the political system. So I say the idea is not to get more political parties, but let's just abolish political parties altogether as a way of representing ourselves and as a way of organizing, and get more localized, more decentralized, and have actual representation of people. Tell me what you guys think. What do you think about these 2 stories? Have you heard about this before? Have you heard of other examples of people kicking out politicians or banning political parties and things of that sort? Let me know in the comments below. Share your thoughts. Thank you guys for listening. Be sure to subscribe to theconsciousresistance.com, and if you want to support us, visit us at patreon.com/Derrick Broze. Remember, you are powerful, you are beautiful, you are free. Peace.